This video is sponsored by SimpliSafe. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
New kitchen floor, check it out.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Isn't that wild?
Welcome back to the house. If you watched last week, you'll know that we removed all the lath and plaster from both the living room and the kitchen. And we were wearing full Tyvek suits and respirators because we're worried about lead and asbestos. I've spent days in here vacuuming, so it's clean enough for us to be in here without respirators. One of the things that needs to happen is we're gonna start working on this wall. So I'm gonna remove a majority of this wall, and this is load bearing. So before we can do that, I'm talking with insulation contractors because we need to vacuum out the attic, which is full of the old insulation. And it's best just to start clean in there. In the kitchen, we still need to pull up a couple layers of flooring. We pulled up 2 layers last week, but there's still a lot more down there. And I'm hoping to keep the old floor, but it may just be too far gone. So we'll see. Look at this stuff. Yeah, oh my God. We're gonna replace all the electrical, all the plumbing, and in order to do that, that brings us into the mudroom, which is sort of the hub for all the electrical and plumbing. We've got the panel here, we've got the service for the washer dryer, as well as the water heater, and all that needs to go. It's got galvanized plumbing, which gets super rusty, so probably the best thing to do is to demo this whole wall, open it up so that we can have access to everything so that we can do the job right. This 80-year-old house is full of surprises, and we started by pulling up the floor and immediately found something really cool. Look at this stuff. Yeah, oh my God. Wow, I like those graphics. They've gotta be 50s.
I like the stars.
Yeah, the stars are cool. One of my favorite things about working on old homes is that layer by layer you discover its history, and this is something I couldn't have imagined. This is super cool, it's an amazing graphic, and it's a type of flooring I've never seen before. It's so cool that this has been preserved for this long. It's not seen the light of day probably in about 50 years. This being one of the most exciting discoveries so far in the house build, I had to grab Ashley so that she could see it for herself.
New kitchen floor, check it out.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Isn't that wild?
I like the stars. You gonna rebuild it?
Yeah, we're gonna put epoxy over it, just total boat it, and keep
What
it.
is it? Is it linoleum?
I don't know, it's like some sort of, it's like burlap. Maybe it's like early linoleum. I genuinely don't know. I've never seen this stuff
Oh,
before.
yeah, look at that. Wow, I actually do really like these. Maybe you could model our light fixture.
Ooh,
After
that's a
that.
good idea. Yeah, it'd be cool to bring that design in
Like
somewhere.
a circle and then the lines and maybe another circle instead of a square.
Yeah, I took photos of it, so we can recreate it. We can do a
Cool.
stained glass window here of it.
Oh, actually, that'd be kind of fun. I like that.
So we should probably talk about the floor,
Yeah,
because there's the old Douglas fir floor, but I don't think we can save it.
yeah,
It's got too many nails in it.
yeah. No.
So
It
do you
looks
think we should
pretty.
just pull it up and go
Tile.
tile?
Yeah,
Probably.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
As much as I love preserving old things and upcycling, sometimes you just gotta admit when something's too far gone. And these Douglas fir floors are covered in nails and staples and glue and really don't know what all's going on them. There's probably a reason they put this linoleum floor on there in the first place. So we decided ultimately that the best thing to do is to break out the wrecking bars and pry the floor up. The best thing about this combination of linoleum on the wood flooring is that as we pried the nails up, everything stayed together in like one roll. It kind of felt like you were just rolling up a carpet. Luis and I quickly got into a rhythm together, and I think we had this floor out of here inside of half an hour. With the tongue and groove gone, we could pull up all of the tar paper, pry the nails, and then I like to use this rolling magnet to collect all of the scrap nails, making the floor ready for the next phase. Since the last video, I've had a lot of contractors come through this house, plumbing, electrical, and I had a contractor come through to look at the attic because the attic is full of a material called vermiculite. This is the old original insulation, and she handed me this bag and said, I need to go get it tested. I'm a little nervous because apparently 20% of vermiculite in the Seattle area has been contaminated by asbestos. If it is full of asbestos, this project's gonna get a lot more expensive. Okay. So I dropped off the vermiculite and they're saying it's gonna be until Monday. So I've got all weekend to wonder what's going on. But you just gotta know. In the meantime, there is plenty left to do in the house, and we decided to start by emptying out the hot water tank. This tank is about 20 years old, which makes it over 10 years past its expiration date. Doesn't look very rusty.
No, it sure doesn't.
Huh.
Oh, here we go.
So last night, it was total chaos. I stopped shooting, but basically what happened was the cold water started backflowing through the hot water pipes when we didn't have any pressure on it. So what we need to do now is actually put a shutoff in this building. Currently, the building that we're living in is connected to this house, and there's no shutoff between the two. So if I shut off the water from the street, all the water shuts off for my shop and our current place. So in order to get this hot water tank out, we first have to install a shutoff in the crawl space so that we can shut off the building separately. So welcome to the crawl space underneath my house. It could be worse, it could be a lot dirtier than it is. It's actually pretty clean, but it is a tight squeeze to get around in. It does contain a lot of systems, including the air returns, which is what I'm crawling underneath. It's got a lot of insulation. It has all of the plumbing, including the plumbing that ties into our building. Now, this isn't done right, and that's something that will be tackled later, but for now, we're focused on all the old galvanized plumbing for the house. If you work on galvanized plumbing, you have to get a can of this. It's called PB Blaster. It's not a sponsor or anything, but it's the only thing that I've found that'll loosen up those old threads. Wow. All right. My Owen Wilson impression is just because I was shocked at how little rust were in these pipes. I've opened up it before and it's just a little pinhole that's left. And for some reason, these pipes, much like the water heater, aren't that rusty. I wrapped some Teflon tape around a plug and then inserted it into those threads. The only reason why I'm doing this is so that we can cut off this system from the rest of the house and keep the water running to our place. It's temporary until we can put a shutoff in, but this allows us to pull the hot water tank without having that backflow issue we were having before.
1, 2, 3.
Yep, it's rotating.
The water heater came out pretty easy, but with the expansion tank on top, that had filled with water, so it made it incredibly top heavy since it had been drained. You can also see some of the old flooring, which this is called asbestos tile. Don't touch that. Last week I had a lot of people ask me, since I'm working on the kitchen here, what's gonna end up happening to the shop? And nothing. The shop's right here. Sorry I didn't make that super clear. Welcome back to the shop. Since we're in here, might as well talk about the sponsor of this week's video, the company that I trust to take care of my shop when I'm away, SimpliSafe. I've had my SimpliSafe security system going on 3 years now, and I installed it myself inside of an hour, and it's worked great ever since. This shop has both power tools and camera equipment, so it's essential that I keep it protected. I've recommended SimpliSafe to dozens of my friends and family members. We've had a few false alarms while on vacations, and we get notified in an instant if anything happens. They have loads of different sensors, including motion and smoke and water, and they have lots of camera options too, so you can easily customize your system to fit your needs. Now with SimpliSafe's smart alarm camera and Fast Protect technology, SimpliSafe monitoring agents can capture evidence to verify a threat is real so you can get priority emergency dispatch. The cost is less than $1 a day, half the cost of traditional home security brands, and they don't have long-term contracts, so you can start and stop anytime without any hidden fees. Save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for the Fast Protect plan and get your first month free. Visit simplisafe.com/Michael Alm to customize yours today. Thanks, SimpliSafe. Now let's get back to the house. The whole reason we removed the water tank at this stage was because we wanted the space so we could demo this wall. We also realized that the zipper system that we put in was on the wrong side of the wall, so we quickly changed that. We also rewrapped the HVAC system so it wouldn't get dusty as we tore out the lath and plaster. I also removed the panel door, which is completely shut off. This whole panel is powered down. I can power it down from the other building. And then we covered it with plastic, again, to keep the dust out. Speaking of dust, it's time to put the old uniform back on, Tyvek suit, N100 respirator. We're trying to protect ourselves from asbestos, which is potentially in the plaster, and lead, which is likely in the paint. I think last week I said that it was the CDC guidelines, but we're actually following the EPA guidelines, which I have put the PDF that we followed down below. It's really easy to follow, so if you work on old homes, stay safe and follow those guidelines. This being the third room that Luis and I have teamed up to destroy, it went really fast. We're getting pretty good at this. All right, I just got an alert on my phone. The lab results are back. So let me go to that. Bulk asbestos fiber, I'm nervous. Okay, bulk asbestos fiber analysis. Layer 1 of 1, description, gold flaky, miscellaneous material, non-fibrous material, binder, filler, fine particle mica, vermiculite, okay. Other fibrous materials, 9% cellulose. Asbestos type, percentage, actinolite, less than 1%. I don't, I like legit don't know if that's good or bad. Fine print, note the samples are not homogeneous. Then samples, the items tested, the sample was not collected. Uncertainties of the report, percentage. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call the installation contractor and I'll see what they say this means. Hey, yeah, this is Michael Alm. You guys came to my house, did an inspection. You said that you pulled out the vermiculite and you told me I had to test it for asbestos. Yeah, I got the test results back today. They say that there's less than 1% asbestos. Is that okay? Oh, good. Okay, good. Yeah, you guys can come tomorrow. That'd be awesome. Perfect, awesome. Oh, I'm so excited. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. Bye. Okay, all right, we're good. That is a massive, massive relief. Bright and early the next morning, we had insulation contractors vacuuming out the attic. I didn't film them, they didn't want to be filmed, but I am hugely appreciative to have them so that we can continue working in the basement where it's a whole lot cooler, so I think we got the better job. It was time to demo all the plumbing, and I brought down some of my Rockler one-handed bar clamps to support this plumbing while I'm cutting it. These long lengths are super floppy, so the bar clamps helped hold it in place, prevent the cut from binding, and also, once it was cut, I could put in another bar clamp, cut it from the other end. The first pipes were in the deepest part of the crawl space, and so I used this Milwaukee hacksaw to cut through the pipes.
Yeah, battery's dead again. Okay.
But it just kept running out of batteries. This is only 12 volts, so this is a lot for it. I could cut through about 3, maybe 4 pipes on each battery, which just wasn't working.
Out of juice again.
As we moved closer to the crawl space door, we were able to run an extension cord and bring in the full-on Sawzall, which worked a lot better.
Oh my god, the big one's so much better. It's so much better. Oh man. Game changer. Well, I'm glad. Alright, it's gonna go a lot faster now.
We quickly got all the galvanized plumbing out of the crawl space and was back upstairs to demo the rest of it. I realized that the pipes weren't following all the way down to the crawl space, and to save some time and some work, I just grabbed a set of vice grips, lifted it up, cut it there, and then it could fall away clean inside of the crawl space, and we wouldn't have to do anything extra. And with that, all of the old galvanized is gone, and it's time to install the new plumbing, which we're going to be using PEX B for this. It uses crimp rings, and the reason we're doing that is because it's the same system that I put in when I put in the shower. I've done several plumbing jobs over the years, and I feel very comfortable running my own PEX. I got several bids from plumbers just to see if I could speed up the time on this, and ultimately it was not even remotely worth paying a plumber to do this simple of a job.
Okay, so we got the gray house, the red house, comes in from the street, runs up here. That's the water heater, which is where the hot water starts, and then does its loop. And then we've got the T right here. This goes to the bathroom, and then this goes over to the fridge, kitchen, sink.
We're going to start at the street side, and we're going to tie into that plug that we put in earlier. We'll put a threaded insert in there, and then immediately after that install this ball valve shutoff so that we can shut off the system while we're working on it. With that installed, we can start nailing up the PEX. It comes in spools, so it's super bendy when you first get it, and so I like to put in a whole bunch of hangers on the floor joists because I think it's better to err on the side of too many than too few.
Keep going. Keep going. There we are, right there.
We started by running the cold water lines and left a T for the water heater, which will be picked up by the hot water lines as we go. I love PEX because it's color coded and makes it really easy to see where the cold and the hot is. Also, as opposed to having to sweat copper, it's a much easier system to install. And in the state of Washington, it is legal for a homeowner to install their own plumbing. So I decided to take advantage of that and do it myself.
Next. So we'll leave the faucet off, but we got to carry going forward to the toilet, essentially.
Yeah, which we didn't change I don't remember cutting the toilet line, but we must
I don't either. Yeah, I don't either.
Luis and I realized that as we were demoing the plumbing, we never saw the toilet, and we assumed that this just went to the outdoor faucet. But we discovered that this pipe actually leads to both, and it's in the wall. We'd have to take out the wall behind the toilet, which I don't want to do. So we're just going to tap into the little bit of galvanized plumbing that's left in this wall.
I got it.
So this was definitely a team effort. Big thank you to Luis for sticking out with me in this crawl space. He was tremendously helpful. And we managed to knock out the cold water lines fairly quickly, moved into the hot water lines, which were super easy because we just traced the same path. Just note that we have them kind of draped here. Everything will be secured eventually. And we'll also go back over everything with insulation.
Well, welcome to the freshly cleaned attic from one tiny space to another. It's looking great up here, and I brought you up so that I could show you something over that way. So it's really nice and clean up here. The guys did a great job, and now you can see why I went to the effort of having this cleaned out, because now we have access to everything. We've got access to electrical, we've got access to the HVAC, and we also have access to this wall, which will be removed. And you can see now that it is a load-bearing wall. It's got two joists sitting side by side over the top of this wall. So it's taking a load, which means that we're gonna have to cut them, put joist hangers on, and slip a beam in between. That's not gonna happen this week, but I was talking with Luis, and he came up with a brilliant idea for something that we could do with all of this added space. And for that, we're gonna go back downstairs because it's really hot up here. So Luis turns to me and he said, Michael, I've got an idea, but I don't know if I should tell you or not. I'm like, Luis, now I have to know. And he said, what if we move the furnace into the attic? I mean, it's brilliant. It's such a good idea. I didn't even know this was an option, but apparently it's done all the time. And so I've called an HVAC contractor. They say they can do it. I don't know how expensive it's gonna be. Hopefully it's not too expensive so that we can, we'll gain all of this space. We can get rid of all these ducts and not have to look at this eyesore every time we walk in. We can also add a pantry in here, which would be amazing. But what do we do with the hot water tank? And I got an idea for that. Follow me. So you remember that super deep hallway closet that I can completely hide in? Yeah, this is perfect. You're not gonna put a coat all the way back there and expect to find it ever again. So we might as well use it for the hot water tank. We'll have to replumb a little bit, but it's really not that big of a deal. So that's a huge space savings. Also, we have lots of stuff coming in for the kitchen build, which we're gonna get to next week. Oh. Brand new drawer slides. These are the new Rockler Centerline undermounted drawer slides. They finally have undermounted drawer slides, and I cannot wait to put them in the kitchen. Speaking of the kitchen, designs are coming along. Here's a little teaser of what the SketchUp looks like right now. There's still a little bit more to go. I know I said last week that I would go through and review it, but there's just so much going on this week. So hopefully next week we'll have time to go over the design. We're also going to take out the load-bearing wall, which is gonna completely change the look of this place. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you to SimpliSafe for sponsoring this video, and thank you, as always, to my Patreon supporters. We're doing a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff on Patreon. If you want to support the channel, go check out the Patreon. I really want to put that furnace up in the attic, so I appreciate your support. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.